Scooter Braun has regrets. He views his conflict with Taylor Swift as a lesson to be learned. Keep watching our video to know how come Scooter Braun is sorry for Taylor Swift feud. Taylor Swift's worst case scenario. Here's a quick summary. The master recordings of Taylor Swift's first 6 albums were sold to Scooter Braun by her former label Big Machine Records, which was headed by Scott Borchetta back in 2019. Braun later sold the masters to an investment group after Swift started re-recording her old music, which is considered one of the most powerful moves in music history. Swift was not informed of the first agreement until it became public knowledge, at which point she expressed in an emotional Tumblr post that it was her worst case scenario. Taylor claimed to have learned about Scooter Braun's purchase of her master's degree at the moment it was made public. But what does Scooter Braun himself think of this conflict? Do you know Scooter Braun has been a bit verbal about this case lately? Follow us to our next segment to know Scooter Braun's own views. Also, don't forget to press the like and subscribe buttons and hit the bell icon for more exciting content. The confession of Scooter Braun. Scooter Braun admitted that he wished the deal might have gone differently 3 years ago when he bought the master rights to Taylor Swift's early music. The music mogul spoke with Jay Williams for NPR's The Limits with Jay Williams. During the nearly 40-minute chat, Braun revealed how he came to own Swift's master recordings, her previous label, and Big Machine. The 2019 acquisition turned into a bigger public fight that triggered a conversation about ownership and rights in the music industry. Braun stated that he was bound by a very strong NDA and was unable to give Swift or any other Big Machine artist anything sufficing early notice. "I wasn't legally allowed to," he said per E! He continued that he was excited to work with every artist on the label, so when they finalized the deal, he started making phone calls to let them know he was a part of this. To start with, he made 4 phone calls straight out. When Williams questioned him about going back in time to redo the acquisitions, he responded with a yes. "I learned an important lesson from that," he said. Come with us to the next segment to know what important lesson Braun is referring to. Scooter Braun's important lesson. Braun, who merged his Ithaca holdings with BDS label owner Hype for $1 billion in 2021, stated that there was a lack of communication between him, Big Machine, and its portfolio of artists. As told earlier in our video, being under a very strict NDA, Braun was unable to contact artists under such conditions, and certainly our Swift comes under the same shadow. Braun, though, made it plain that they must be notified if any of the artists wish to return and buy into this. However, Scooter Braun himself was eager to collaborate with the label's performers. Yes, viewers, the longtime manager, who's worked with stars like Justin Bieber and Ariana Grande, expressed his excitement about working with the label's talents. After all, his excessive calls to musicians says a lot. Sadly, all hell broke loose after those 4 phone calls from Scooter Braun. What happened was that the same day Braun's Big Machine acquisition became official, Swift criticized Braun for the constant manipulative bullying she had endured from him for years in a Tumblr post. Swift continued by saying that Scooter has now taken her life's work away from her and that she was not given the chance to purchase it. She also added a third piece to the picture by writing that her musical legacy will soon be in the hands of someone who tried to destroy it. Braun stated that after reflecting over Swift's reaction in 2022, he believes that a lot of things got lost in translation. Braun asserts that it's difficult to reconcile a disagreement with someone if you're unwilling to talk to them. As a result, he regrets having formed the assumption that everyone would talk to him after the transaction was complete. Braun was certain that the artist would be glad to work with him because of his excellent intentions and character. Braun stated that he had learned the important lesson to not presume that artists will be entirely on board for a collaboration. Braun asserted that he cannot be so conceited as to believe that someone would just agree to speak with him and then be eager to collaborate. He doesn't know any artist personally, and the reality remains in its place. Are things any near to cooling up? Come towards our last segment to know. The feud continues. 3 years passed since the 2019 confrontation with Swift. Braun, on the other hand, doesn't like how everything turned out. Braun acknowledged that the circumstances were unjust to both sides. He continued by wishing well to everyone involved and said that he had chosen to view it as a lesson in learning and growth. He wants everyone to win because he doesn't believe in rooting for people to lose. Swift alleged that Braun had mistreated her by leaking private information about her and by allowing Bieber and ex-client Kanye West to publicly shame her. Braun told Variety last year that Swift's reaction was very confusing and not based on anything factual. Swift has started a crusade to re-record her entire catalog after Braun took the master recordings. She's published her own version of Fearless and Red since the 2019 drama. The singer surely is nowhere near mercy. Coming to the end of our video, we can only conclude that the conflict is perhaps a result of miscommunications and a much needed change in the record company's policies, but not to worry people, after all, what is showbiz without a little drama, conflict, regrets, and confession?